Hello? Are you able to hear? Right. Okay. Today, liver, there are only some few topics. I will complete it. And now we will start spleen. So this is very, very important. In spleen, there are some important questions. That is, number one is splenic anatomy. That is very, very important because to know that is this is the commonest solid organ that will be get injured when there is blunt injury abdomen. So spleen, you must know a brief anatomy and functions of the spleen is a short notes. And next comes in the clinics splenomegaly. What are the various causes of splenomegaly and their management? And another thing is some of the congenital anomalies of the spleen and splenectomy. The splenectomy, that is what are the indications for splenectomy, that is commonly asked short notes for you for undergraduates. And lastly, what are the complications of splenectomy, and particularly that is OPSI is a 2 marks question for you, that is overwhelming post splenectomy infection. So these are the questions that will be asked in the spleen. And coming to the anatomy, that is it is a dark purple, highly vascular, coffee bean shaped organ, and it is mesodermal in origin, and it is situated in the left quadrant, that is left hypochondrium or left quadrant of the abdomen at the level of 8 to 11 ribs, and the long axis of the spleen corresponds to 10th rib. It is present, that is medially it is covered by fundus of the stomach, and above by the diaphragm and splenic fracture of the colon, and below by the left kidney. So the weight of the spleen, it varies from 100 to 250 grams, and it measures about 12 into 7 into 4 centimeter size. And normal spleen, it cannot be palpated. So how to palpate this spleen and how much it has to be get enlarged for a palpable spleen, I will tell in the next class. And it is attached to the adjacent viscera. So it is connected to the adjacent viscera by ligaments. These ligaments are very, very important. Particularly the gastrosplenic ligament is very, very important. So it is attached to the adjacent viscera and also to the abdominal wall and diaphragm by peritoneal folds or ligaments. And the most important ligaments of the spleen, there are 3 ligaments. Number one is gastrosplenic ligament, which is a vascular ligament, and it contains short gastric vessels, and other ligaments are mostly avascular, that is a splenorenal ligament and splenocholic ligament. So these 3 ligaments will make the organ to stay in the left upper quadrant of the abdomen and attach it to the surrounding viscera. And this is the figure showing, this is number one diaphragm that is present in the upper part, and this is the spleen, which is a coffee bean on appearance, and this is the splenic artery. So splenic artery initially divides into upper and lower branch. So the segments of the spleen, very, very important for multiple choice as well as for the for doing partial splenectomy to spare the spleen. And also the splenic vein, which is present posterior to the pancreas. This is the pancreas. This is the tail of the pancreas. This is very, very important because while doing splenectomy, there is every chance that you may injure the tail of the pancreas. And another thing is, that is the left kidney, and this is the colon, that is the splenic flexure of the colon, which is present below and in front of the spleen. And this is also showing the surrounding organs and their relationship with the spleen. That is, this is the diaphragm, this is the 9th rib, and these are the short gastric vessels present in the gastrosplenic ligament. Gastrosplenic ligament, and this is the splenorenal ligament. And this is the spleen. And these short gastric vessels, these are very, very important because you have to ligate this ligament and have to ligate by transfixation suture. And this is very, very important vascular ligament of the spleen. And this is the suprarenal gland that is present below, and the splenic artery and vein. And attachment of the transverse mesocolon. This is the attachment of the transverse mesocolon, which was cut and shown here. And this is the transverse colon, and this is the splenic fracture. Rangareddy, ఏమి వద్దులే, ఇప్పుడే వద్దులే, నేను మళ్ళీ చేస్తా ఫోన్. And coming to the anatomy, just like liver, spleen also contains a capsule. So that is splenic capsule. And when the spleen is enlarged, you will feel stretching time, that is dull aching pain because of this stretching of this splenic capsule. This capsule is very, very important, and the thickness is 1 to 2 millimeters, and it contains fibroelastic layer with few muscle cells. That is splenic capsule. And the splenic notch, this is very, very important because sometimes it may contain 1 or 2 notches. They are present at the inferolateral border of the spleen, inferolateral border, and it may be palpated when the spleen is enlarged. Sometimes you can feel 1 or 2 notches clinically when the spleen is very much enlarged. And the splenic artery, it arises from the celiac trunk and it is tortuous. This point is very, very important in anatomy, why the vessel is very much tortuous and runs along the upper border of the tail of the pancreas. That is, it runs on the upper border of the pancreas, and this is very, very important, particularly because the splenic artery has to be ligated first, so that while doing splenectomy, particularly in case of elective splenectomy, you must identify, so open the lesser sac, go to the upper border of the tail of pancreas, and then ligate the splenic artery doubly, and you should not cut the splenic artery. So once you ligate the splenic artery, so the spleen will shrink in size, which can be appreciated by folds, that is folds of the capsule over the spleen, so that whatever the blood that is present in the spleen, that is about 150 to 200 ml, will be get drained. So the spleen will shrink in size, so that we can preserve the blood without wasting, and while removing the spleen. And why the splenic artery is very much tortuous? Because the pressure in the aorta, because the celiac trunk is very short, so there is a lot of pressure in the aorta. So the same pressure will be get transmitted to the spleen. It will go into pressure necrosis. That's why, to decrease the pressure that should be get transmitted to the spleen, the splenic artery is tortuous, and it runs along the upper border of the pancreas. And the main splenic artery divides into 2 branches, so superior and inferior. So originally the spleen may be having only 2 segments, but very rarely, sometimes it may divide into several segments. That is, sometimes it divides, the superior branch divides into 2 or 3 branches, and inferior branch will divide into 2 or 3 branches. So totally, when it is asked how many segments are present in the spleen, it may vary from 2 to 6 segments. Next, coming to the, depending on arterial supply, I already told, the spleen contains 2 to 6 specific segments separated by avascular plane. This segmental anatomy is very, very important for preservation of the spleen, because nowadays this is most important organ and is the only organ that contains reticuloendothelial system purely. So for immunity of the person, this is very, very important. Nowadays the trend is try to preserve the spleen by doing partial splenectomy or segmental splenectomy, and splenography, wherever possible, try to do repair of the splenic capsule by controlling the bleeding. And coming to the splenic vein, it forms from several tributaries that drain the hilum, and it runs behind the pancreas and joins the superior mesenteric vein at the neck of the pancreas, and it forms the portal vein. So I already told in the liver anatomy also. So it runs behind the pancreas and it fuses with the superior mesenteric vein at the neck of the pancreas, forming portal vein. And it contains, so the spleen contains central white pulp. This is very, very important because the periphery, it contains red pulp. And blood flow through the spleen is 300 ml per minute, and it contains central white pulp, peripheral red pulp. This is very, very important. And this is the microscopic anatomy, that is within the spleen, how the trabecular artery, this is the white pulp, and this is the trabecular vein, and this is the marginal zone, and this is the red pulp which is present periphery. This is very, very important because once when the spleen, there is splenomegaly, most of the time the red pulp is increased in quantity, not the white pulp. And this is the lymphatic nodule, that is the white pulp is mainly concerned with the reticular endothelial system. And this is also the cut section, how the splenic artery, splenic vein divides into different branches, that is 2 to 6 branches, and the periphery contains the red pulp, and the central, this is the white pulp. And this is the lymphoid tissue, that is what we see, that is called periarterial lymphoid sheath. This is the white pulp that is contains the lymphoid tissue. And the functions of the spleen, this is very, very important foremost question for you. So it is having nearly 6 functions. Number 1 is immune function. So I already told this is the largest single collection of lymphoid tissue, and the white pulp contains various cellular components required for generating immune response. And blood passing through the spleen is exposed to all cellular components necessary both for humoral as well as cellular immune responses. And the spleen contains about 60 to 70% of T cells and 10 to 15% of B lymphocytes. So this is the lymphoid tissue that is present in the white pulp, that is 60 to 70% of T cells and 10 to 15% of B lymphocytes. So it is necessary both for humoral as well as cellular immune responses. And spleen synthesizes, that is antibodies in the white pulp, and the function of that is it removes antibody coated bacteria and also antibody coated blood cells from blood and lymph. So any, that is mismatched blood cells which contain the antibody will get destroyed in the spleen. And second function is filter function. So that is hinge bodies and Howell jelly bodies which are present in the RBCs. These are called intracellular inclusions, which are removed from the RBCs by the spleen. It filters these bodies from the RBCs, and these bodies are non-deformable intracellular substances which occur usually within the cell, that is in the RBCs, which will be filtered by the spleen. And third function, that is destruction. It removes abnormal, aged and damaged RBCs by a process called culling. So culling means that is, it is a method of sorting. So it is derived from the Greek word which means that sorting or a collection of 2 groups of things where we sort out the correct one, normal one and abnormal one. So one which is normal is kept and the abnormal is rejected. So that is, it removes all the abnormal, aged and damaged RBCs by a process called culling. This is, the meaning is, it is a Greek word and it contains 2 groups. Right? And next, coming to the spherocytes, that is in case of hereditary spherocytosis, all RBCs are broken down by the spleen, and this happens mainly in the red pulp. So hemolysis in spherocytosis will occur in the red pulp. That's why there is enlargement of the spleen, because the red pulp is mainly increased in the amount leading to splenomegaly. And production function, it produces lymphocytes, plasma cells, and monocytes. And lymphopoiesis continues throughout the life. But the production of RBCs only, it takes only up to adolescence. But lymphopoiesis will continue throughout the life and is the main source for immune response. So that is the main function of the spleen. And it is a reservoir of platelets. This is very, very important function. It's storehouse of platelets which are released into the circulation during emergency. So this is very, very important because once you are planning for splenectomy, sometimes it may require to give a single dose of aspirin one day before, because while doing spleen, when you are manipulating the spleen, suddenly the platelets will be get released into the circulation, leading to thromboembolic phenomena, so which may cause some of the dangerous complications. That's why while doing elective splenectomy, some surgeons, they used to give aspirin 150 mg one day before, and thus the spleen is enlarged. 80% of platelets are sequestrated, resulting in thrombocytopenia. So when spleen is enlarged, all of these platelets are sequestrated, resulting in thrombocytopenia. And splenomegaly typically involves the expansion of red pulp only, not the white pulp. And another most important function is erythrocyte production, that is production of RBCs. During fetal life, both WBCs and RBCs are produced up to 5th month of gestation. In adults, particularly when the patient is suffering with myelofibrosis, and this erythropoiesis will occur. So erythrocyte production is a last function, that is mainly in the during fetal life. It is the main source for WBCs and RBCs. But in adults, it is only bone marrow, and only when the patient gets myelofibrosis, where there is large spleens are seen, and it produces erythropoiesis. Right. Next, coming to the congenital abnormalities of the spleen. In this, there are some short notes, that is accessory spleen. This is very, very important because particularly when you are doing surgery for hereditary spherocytosis or some of the indications for hemolysis where there is destruction of the RBCs. So in hypersplenism, where there is destruction of all blood cells, so when you are doing splenectomy, you must always look for accessory spleen, which are called splenenculi, because if you remove only the main spleen, some of the accessory spleens which are present in the abdomen, they will produce again hemolysis. So this is very, very important. So accessory spleen or splenenculi, there may be single or multiple accessory spleens found in the abdomen. The incidence is 10 to 30%. And what are the common sites where you see accessory spleen? Number one is hilum of the spleen is commonest site. That is in 50% of the cases, it contains accessory spleens. And another one is tail of the pancreas. So these two must be examined because while doing splenectomy, and also you must always examine mesocolon, where it may some of the accessory spleens are present, and greater omentum, and some within the splenic ligaments. I already told there are 3 splenic ligaments, that is gastrosplenic ligament, splenocholic ligament, and spleno-renal ligament. So these are the 3 ligaments you must look for any presence of accessory spleens. And what is the importance of these accessory spleens? Because failure to identify accessory spleens during splenectomy, that is particularly elective splenectomy, when you are doing that is for spherocytosis or any hemolytic anemias or that is splenomegaly leading to destruction of the RBCs and hypersplenism. If you don't remove these accessory spleens, this will give rise to persistence of the disease leading to continuous hemolysis. And second abnormality, that is splenic agenesis, that is atrophy of the spleen, where it is not developing. It is rarely seen. Only in 5% of the cases it is present. It is seen in children with congenital heart disease. So splenic agenesis is usually, it is associated with congenital heart disease. And third one, that is polysplenia. It is a rare condition, and mostly the reason is it is failure of the fusion of the spleen. That is splenic fusion. Where there is failure of splenic fusion, it leads to polysplenia. So during embryonic development, the segments of the spleen, when they fail to fuse, it leads to multiple spleens. That is called polysplenia. And wandering spleen or ectopic spleen, this is very, very important. And it contains long splenic pedicle, which allows the spleen to move within the peritoneum. And particularly, it is present in the lower abdomen or pelvis because of the long splenic pedicle. It is overhanging into the lower abdomen or pelvis. And it is 10 times more common in females than in males. And the main complication of wandering spleen is because the main complication of wandering spleen is it is more prone for torsion, requiring emergency splenectomy. So torsion leading to acute abdomen requiring emergency splenectomy, that is the main complication of wandering spleen. And hematoma, that is malformation, that is it means misfire. The literal meaning of a hematoma is misfire. The size is sometimes it may be 1 centimeter to a very large size, producing mass per abdomen. There are two forms of hematomas, that is one resembles white pulp and another one red pulp. And splenic cysts, sometimes we can see cystic lesions within the spleen. There are two types of splenic cysts. Number one is true cyst, which is primary cyst, which arises from the embryonal nest, that is embryonal components that are called primary cyst. And second one is pseudocyst. This is very, very important. And the pseudocyst of the spleen, that is sometimes what happens in severe pancreatitis, it produces pseudocyst of the pancreas at the tail of the pancreas. So the treatment for pseudocyst is, this is excision of the pseudocyst when it is present at the tail of the pancreas. So the site of the pseudocyst may present at the tail of the pancreas, which is because of severe pancreatitis, that is called pseudocyst or secondary cyst. Next, coming to the, what are the indications for removal of the splenic cyst? So when the splenic cyst is more than 5 centimeters, you have to go for excision of the cystic lesion, or you have to go for splenectomy or partial splenectomy when it is more than 5 centimeters in size. And when by removal of the splenic cyst, if there is any bleeding, we have to go for partial splenectomy or total splenectomy. If the cyst gets complicated by infection, then you have to go for splenectomy. Okay. Next to liver. So next class I will tell rupture of the spleen and its complications. Today I want to complete a small topic in the liver.
Please wait on.